We're in 123D design here, and I want to try and make an extruded Batman logo from a sketch, but I'm going to bring this sketch in from a web graphic, and let's just see what we have here. Here's paint.net. Here's the web graphic that I've downloaded off the internet, and the first thing I want to talk about here is the fact that I don't like the white margin around the outside here. It's not so much that it's got a white background here, but it's more the fact that there's a margin here between the actual logo and the edge of the graphic. So I'm going to use Inkscape here to remove this. By the way, all these programs are completely free for Windows. So let's get the Magic Wand tool. I've done this before in other videos, so I'm just going to rattle through this quite quickly. Select the background there. There's a clear difference here between the white background and the black border, so that's great. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to invert my selection, so now I'm only selecting everything but the white background, and I'm going to go to Image and Crop to Selection. That gives me a transparent background, and it gives me no more margin. So that looks rather good. Let's just now save that to, now I've got a location I'm going to save it to here. I'm going to save that as a PNG because PNG support transparency, and I'm just going to call that PNG version 01. Okay, there we go. Let's go with the default settings. Fantastic. That should move the margin. Now, next thing I'm going to do is come to Inkscape, another fantastic free app, and I'm going to bring that graphic in. So let me see. Can I just click and drag and drop that in? Yes, that looks absolutely fantastic. There it is. There's my graphic. So what I now want to do is convert this from a raster image or a bitmap image into a vector, and I should know this already, but if I just zoom in here, I can see that this is basically a raster image or a bitmap, so it's made up from lots and lots of pixels, and I want to transform that, as I say, into a vector, which is basically made out of polygons. So let's see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go to Object with it selected, no, Path, should I say, and I'm going to go to Trace Bitmap. And this is going to convert this from a bitmap into a vector. I want to base it on colors. I want to have all these tick boxes selected down here, and just show you this scans option here. If I modify this down to 2 scans and update, it only picks out here the black, not the yellow. Is that a major problem? Possibly not with what I'm going to do with it, but if I bring it up to 3 and update again, now it's slowly picking up more and more detail. So what you'll need to do with this scans option here, depending on how many colors your graphics has, mine's only obviously got black and yellow. If it's got more colors, you'll need to modify this scan value. Updates until you're happy with what you've got. I think everything else should be fine. Let's click on OK, and nothing much seems to have happened there. There was a little fraction of a second there where there was a stop button, but nothing seems to have changed. What if I click on the cross there and close that down, and then with the selection tool I pick this up and move it to the side, you'll notice that I've now actually got 2 of these. Now let's just have a look at the difference. Here's my original graphic, and if I zoom in here, you can see it's all pixelated. Now here's my vector version, and if I zoom in on this, here the pixelation is gone, and now it's basically made from one, in this particular case, one curve, one Bezier curve. And if I just show one more thing I can do here, if I zoom in on this, if I get my Path Edit tool and I click on this, you'll notice that, well, nothing seems to be selected. But if I come over here and click on this, suddenly I can see I've got all these little nodes which are defining the profile here of each of these Bezier curves. So it's got basically, it's a series of polygons making up this shape. Absolutely perfect. Now I want to export this or save it as an SVG file, and then bring it into 123D design, import it in as an SVG sketch. The problem is that if I do that at the moment from Inkscape, what I'm going to get is an absolutely ginormous graphic. And what I want to do here instead is scale this down so that when I bring it into 123D design, it's already scaled to the right size. And what I've found is that if I control the actual pixel size of this graphic, let's just get the selection tool instead there. If I look at the actual width and height of this is 1881 pixels in width and 1089 pixels in height, give or take a few decimal places. So if I bring this across right now, it's going to make a graphic which is 1881 millimeters in width, which is far too big for what I want. I'm imagining that I want to make this into a piece of jewelry. So I'm going to try and bring this down to a dimension of, let's say 50 millimeters in width. So let's bring up my calculator here, and here we are. what I want to do is imagine that I want to bring the width from 1881 millimeters down to 50. So if I type in 50 here, that's what I want, and I divide it by 1881, do I do 0.54? Why not? Okay, then the scaling factor here, I want to basically multiply the size of this by a scaling factor of 0.0265739. Okay, if I do that, it'll bring it down to a pixel width of 50 millimeters. So what I'm now going to do, I can specify this to be 50. I need to know what the equivalent height is going to be. So if I multiply the height by this multiplier, then it should give me the equivalent height in millimeters that I want. So here we go. I'm going to multiply this by 1089.3, and this gives me a value of 28.94. So in other words, if I scale the width of this down to 50 millimeters, in order to maintain the proportions of my Batman logo, I'll need to scale down the height of this to, well, I'll round it up to 29 millimeters. So here we go. I'm going to put this here. Let's select the whole thing, Control A. I want to put that to 50 millimeters, enter. Oh, I haven't selected the whole thing. Hang on a second, let me undo that. Edit, undo. Let's just zoom out a bit here. Let's select all of that. Okay then, so let's try it again. 50 millimeters there, and I want to get my height here. Whoops. Dear me. I want to get my height here to be, what was it, 29. Okay, and now what I've got down here is an itsy bitsy teeny weeny little Batman logo. I've still got the other Batman logo up here, but remember that this is a bitmap or a raster image. Okay, so let's now save this. Save as, and I want to save this to, let's have a see. Yeah, I've got my location here. I want to save that as an SVG file. I'm going to call that Batman logo 1 SVG. Save, okay. And let's now minimize that. Let's come back to Autodesk. Let's come to Import SVG as Sketch. I want to come to my Inkscape folder, and there's my logo I've just been creating. Okay, so here it is. Now, where's my grid gone? Well, if I zoom out here, okay, let's have a look. There's the grid, it's right over there. And I think that this has happened because when I created this in Inkscape, basically my piece of paper, piece of paper's here, and I've drawn it right over here. So I should have really brought it into the middle of the piece of paper, I imagine. But here it is down here. Well, that shouldn't be a major problem, because if I zoom in on this, if I select this, well, I have no option to move. But if I come to my transform tools here and I come to the move option, then what I should be able to do, let's come to the plan view here. Okay, and let's zoom out again. Zoom, 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 wheel mouse here. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay, now let's just bring it up like this. Let's bring it back like this. I've gone too far there. That's looking quite close. Now I can zoom in with the wheel mouse again. Okay, let's bring it across like this, looking nice. Okay, now I want to rotate this round so that it's kind of in the right orientation. So let's just single click on this tool here, and I don't want to click and drag this. I want to have a precise rotation. So I'm going to dial into the dialog box here, 90 millimeters. Now I can bring this down. Now I can take it to the right. Okay, that's going to, let's go a bit to the right again there. That's going to do for now. I can add in some more precise dimensions later if I want to. Okay, click on enter, and that's looking quite nice. Let's just zoom in here with the wheel mouse again, and let's just see what I can do with this finally to finish. So there's my 2D sketch, and I want to now try and create this into a 3D model. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select, and it's a little bit tricky to step from that view, so let's just right click and just move that into an easier perspective. Okay, so I've got a series of shapes I can select here. I'm going to select with the Shift key selected all those shapes, and then I'm going to come to my Construct Extrude mode, and I'm going to extrude that up 1 millimeter. That looks quite nice. Okay, I'm just thinking whether I should put a draft angle on that, but I'm not in this particular case. Let's just do that. Okay, and then now what I want to do is I want to extrude up again, just in fact, this has just been a little bit of a pain here because it's forcing me to select this top face here. So what I think I'm now going to do is select this extruded model, and I'm going to move that off here, let's say let's say 30 millimeters. There we are. I'm happy with that. That looks quite nice. Okay, what I now want to do is bring this shape up here. Let's bring this up. Let's come to my extrude tool again. And of course, this is right on the middle of the arrow, typical. I'm going to bring this up 2 millimeters. That's looking quite nice. I'm going to select this edge here, and I'm going to try something a little bit different here. I don't know if this is going to work. I think there's going to be a problem. Let's bring that up 1 millimeter. Yeah, let's try this. But I'm going to put a little draft angle on here of 5 degrees. Now, is that going to work? And of course, it's not letting me play ball, is it? Okay, so I've got a slight little problem there. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that for the time being. Let's just select that. Let's just extrude this up here. Let's extrude this up 2 millimeters. And I was going to bring this across, but actually using draft angles do some funky things. I think just for the time being now, I'm just going to select this one instead. Let's just do an extrusion here of 1 millimeter. And what's happened there? And the whole thing has just completely crashed. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? Anyway, hopefully it won't crash for you, and hopefully what you will see is something that looks like a pretty cool Batman 3D extruded design. Oh well. So there you go. I hope that was useful, and good luck with that.